kind of like OnlyFans, but
Your
for
time, your money, your
athletes.
fight. Hey,
Hey, man.
awesome. I'm glad we got this finally. Thank you for your patience. The first question is, what is your fight name? But I know it's God's Champion, right?
God's champ, yeah.
What's the story behind that?
Well, I mean, I kind of gave it to myself. Originally, I was Jason Sunshine Cephalou. My last name was different because I got like adopted when I was young, like 6 or something like that. And I finally like restored my biological name basically.
Okay.
And where I'm from, everybody calls me Sunshine, like it's my name. Like they don't even call me Jason or anything. And so, but I moved here, and been training with the American Top Team for a while. And my Instagram has been God's Champ for like a long time. And so I have more buddies, especially the Brazilians. Like they just called me by for whatever reason my Instagram name, like God's Champ, God's Champ. And it fits my personality too, because like I always give God the glory, and He's number one in my life, and it's very important to me. And so I don't know. A lot of people were calling me God's champ, and I didn't like the name Sunshine anymore. I mean, I got that when I was 17. I was like, I've outgrown that for sure. So I was like, yeah, I guess I'll stick it to God's champ. I mean, it fits me anyway. So yeah.
All right. Cool. So, what got you started with fighting?
Um, I don't know, man. Like I always knew that's what I wanted to do. My dad. I mean, he used to box. I mean, nothing serious, but uh, the way he the way he raised me was like he just made me real tough. He had boxing gloves on me and like a couple years old, like knocking me down and mounting me and hitting me in the head and like telling me to get up, and like just putting like a grit in me real young. Yeah. And so I just always knew for some reason that I wanted to do something with combat. And then when I was 15, like in the ninth grade, I joined the wrestling team. And that was my first real like introduction to real like combat like in the sports sense.
Yep.
And then I loved it, and I was like, okay, it really is for me. I thought it was, but now I know for sure. And so the next 2 years or whatever, 2 3 years, I got my car, and the only reason I even wanted a car was so I could drive to a gym and train MMA. And so yeah, man, I just always knew it was weird. I just always knew. Yeah.
Okay. So, what weight class do you fight at? And then what weight do you walk around at?
So I fight at flyweight, so 125, and I walk around between 146, 148.
Okay. What's that weight cut like for you?
Well, I have it dialed into a science. I don't do anything sort of recklessly. It's all very calculated. I've done a lot of research. I've purchased a lot of materials. I know a lot about nutrition as well, and so like that helps. And I have sort of collaborated with a lot of like professional MMA weight cut teams, and I basically here recently, like just the culmination of all my knowledge, I sort of change things up, and I sort of do it my own kind of way, and it works
Okay.
really well, and it's really simple. It's a lot simpler than most people's the way they do it. So I mean, it still sucks and it's still hard, but there's no guesswork. I make it every time.
And that's what matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. What's been your toughest fight so far?
Toughest fight. Man, trying to think about, because I've got 8 wins and 4 losses, and all my losses are split decision or decision. And I've never really been beat up. I've never, even in those losses, these guys at best sort of neutralized me, wrestled me, held me down, didn't really hurt me, didn't really break me. I've never been whooped. I've never been beat up.
Right.
And so, I mean, they all had maybe challenges in a different way, you know. Um, my toughest fight, my last fight. I mean, I fought Fumi Nakucha, and he's never lost a fight, never lost a round. I fought him for the CFFC title. Um, but again, like he was technically very good, very fast. Didn't even hit me, but very good at wrestling. Um, I still wouldn't say it was when I'm thinking challenging. I'm thinking I'm digging deep. I'm gritting. He's hitting me. I'm hitting him. I got to dig deep to win. I have not really ever felt something like that. I had a good fight with Joe Penafel. Joe Penafel I lost a split decision to him where a lot of people thought I won. But that was a fight where I was like, I was hitting him, he was hitting me. We were both bleeding, we were wrestling. And even though I thought I won the fight, and most people thought I won the fight, they gave him the split decision. And like I said, I don't feel like I got beat up or anything. And it wasn't even necessarily challenging. But if that's the best I can answer that question was
Okay.
that fight, was like a good back and forth sort of war where we both gave it a lot, and it was a good fight for the fans.
Would you say that was your favorite fight, or do you have another fight that was your favorite?
Oh no, my favorite fight would be my last fight, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I fought Chris Daniels, who had a great record. He's like 8-2. And he was on like a 4-fight win streak, submitting everybody. And I fought him and was beating him up on the feet. He tried to take me down. I would reverse him. My jiu-jitsu was way better than his. My wrestling was way better than his. Striking, I was hurting him, and I ended up finishing him early in the third round with just a brutal combo. Hook to the head, 2 hooks to the body, and then I clinched him up and kneed him like 3 times in the head. And it was just brutal, man. Everybody was sharing it. It got like 10,000 views or whatever. And
Awesome.
it was just a good win against a quality opponent. It was just a great performance on my end, and he wasn't a slouch. He was in there trying to win the whole time. It was just overall a great fight, great opponent, great performance, great finish, which to me is what I love. Great finish.
Oh, yeah.
So
Highlight reel.
yeah, yeah. It was just about everything I could ask for, really, in a fight.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go on to one of the next questions then for you. All right, what advice would you give to a fighter who's just starting out?
Just starting out, we're talking amateur career.
Like they just started training, like let's say a month, maybe 2 months ago. Like they're early in.
Yeah. Well, the question I get a lot from guys that are like less experienced. I mean, I've been training and competing for 14 years almost.
Yep.
So, and if you're counting wrestling, then you're talking 16 years. But um, a lot of people, man, they're just like, man, they're like, it's like watching paint dry. They're trying to figure out when they can feel themselves get better. When can I get like you? When can I start really, being effective on the ground or on the feet? Like, when can I feel like I know what I'm doing? When am I gonna feel improvements? And I always say, look, man, you can't watch paint dry. You just come in every day, put your time in every day, do all the right things, and forget about getting better. Try to get better. Learn as much as you can. Study tapes, videos, train every day, 5, 6 days a week. And like a slow drip, like a drop in a bucket. Eventually, you'll look back 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later, 10 years later, and you'll be a totally different fighter, totally different animal, totally different athlete. And that's always my advice is if you just can't, it does take time to
Mm.
get better at this stuff. It really does, you know?
It kind of sounds like that, like if you were to improve 1% a day kind of thing, then that's, 360% a year. That's like an entirely new person at that point, times three,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. I agree, man. Sometimes even just a video I might watch might put a little idea in my head that I end up using in the gym the next day or the same day. And from that idea, from that little practice run, that little experiment that I do ends up changing my whole game. Or I always tell guys, like when they feel tired, they feel like they don't want to come to training. Like I remember there have been days where I don't want to go train and I go train and I'm so glad because I learn a move that ends up becoming like a staple. And like I can't imagine what if I had not been there and not learned that move. Like, yo, I would have missed out on a huge portion of my game. And you just never know when that is going to
Right.
click, you know?
And then I don't know about you, but I know on those days when I end up showing up anyway, I end up feeling better and then glad that I came because it's like awesome. I got a good workout in. I got to do all this,
Right.
and yeah, get to enjoy it.
Yeah, you'll never regret going when you felt like not going. You'll always regret not going when you feel like not going, you know?
Right, 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 right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's always better to go and put in the work because it's gonna move you forward. It's not gonna move you backwards.
that's right. Yep, I
All
agree.
right, what is your next fight?
Dude, I've been trying to find a fight since June. Yeah, June-ish. I've had about 7 or 8 guys that like my manager would send over to me, I would accept, and they would either turn me down outright or they would accept at first and then a day or two, a week later, pull out or turn me down. And so, man, I've been just trying to get in there again. You know, I don't have a set fight yet, but my manager's looking. And then I got, injured. I popped some cartilage out of my rib, which affected my back. So I was out for about 6 to 8 weeks. I wasn't really out of the gym, but I wasn't sparring. I wasn't wrestling hard. I was just doing drills and some good effective mitt work, still learning stuff.
Yep.
So I have made some progress even when I was injured, but I'm just not, I'm still like a tough, hardy, durable guy, but like I like to feel like I'm made of molten steel when I'm ready to fight. So it's like now I'm able to spar and stuff. I just really cleared myself to spar this past week. So in about 4 to 6 weeks, it's like, okay, we're looking at murdering somebody. So find me somebody. So that's the hope, you know.
All right. Cool, cool. Um, so do you have any questions for me about how the platform works or anything?
Oh yeah. All
All
of it.
right.
I want to know what's the rundown.
Okay. So did I send you the FAQ?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I should have done that. So that's my fault.
Okay.
But I just made it within the last couple days, I think. So that's probably a part of it. But either way, I will make sure to send that to you after this call. And then but I'll try my best to explain it to you. But actually first, let's do this because this is one of the next questions. In your own words, what is Only Fighters?
So the way my brain takes that word and that idea, it feels like a play on words from OnlyFans. But
Yeah.
but it's going to be more about the training, the lifestyle, the diet, the day to day, maybe sort of stuff, type of content that people want to know what does Jason do for his training? What does he do maybe on his off time? Maybe all the little ins and outs. Just like kind of like
Right.
what's that old show used to be where they'd follow a dude around with cameras, kind of like something
Oh,
kind of.
the MTV thing. Yeah.
It was like an MTV thing, yeah. Uh,
Was it Cribs or something like that?
well, that's one of them, but that was more like just their house. But there's a movie, dude. It's Along Came Polly, where the dude he keeps talking about it. He's like, oh, they're following me around, whatever, for the TV show, but I forget the name of it. But then later you find out he actually paid them to act like they were following him around. But it was a
Okay.
yeah, it was a TV show though that would really do that. They were like, just document sort of how you live your life and how do your training, all your little stuff that everybody's curious about. What does he eat? What does he whatever, you know.
UFC did that for a while. UFC All Access, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But all right, so basically, it's gonna be like a social media platform in a sense, and the way it's gonna work, the fans are gonna be getting what we're calling Coach Coin. Okay, see the O, are gonna be getting Coach Coin for using the platform when they log in, when they like a post, when they comment. And then the fighters are also going to be getting Coach Coin for those same things, except it's going to be like posting, um, you know, uh, obviously engaging with the fans. And it's in the works. We're working on making it into an app that is going to allow us to reward you guys for working out as well. But anyways, so the fans are getting these Coach Coin, and they're going to be able to redeem it to be able to subscribe to different fighters on the platform. And so the purpose of these Coach Coin, you want these because it's going to be like dividend for like shares in a company. Do you know like about stocks or no?
It's funny you say it. I just started looking into it in the past like
Okay.
month or two.
You're cutting
Yeah,
out a.
can you hear me?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I just
Yep.
started
Yep.
looking into stocks and stuff like a month or two ago. And as far as I know, dividends are like when you own stock, you own basically a percentage of the company. And every, I think, 3 months or depending on the stock, they pay you a percentage of the profits, basically.
Correct. Yes. So that's essentially what this is going to be, except it won't actually be shares, quote unquote, in the company because all the ownership's still going to be on my end, but it's going to be a profit share in that sense. And so the way it's going to work is all of the funds are getting pooled together into one amount. And then it's going to be 90-10 split. 10% is going to the business so I can take care of paying out everything. We
Mhm.
also have this thing called a giving share that I'll explain later on. Um, but that's coming out of my end as well. And so then that 90% is going to pay out to the fighters based upon how much Coach Coin you have. So that's where it's kind of like owning dividends or owning, shares in the company where you're getting paid out dividends. And instead of every quarter, like it would be for stocks, every 3, 4 months, it's going to be every month where you're going to be getting it, where you're getting paid out.
Interesting.
And so you're going to be getting rewarded for utilizing the platform too, which, nobody else is doing as far as, things go. And so I'm going to explain the giving share a little bit because I know that in the original message I sent you, I explained how by using the platform, it's going to help to grow trees around the world. It's going to help fight child trafficking. And then we have this other thing. But so every time Coach Coin is given out, there's going to be what we're calling a giving share. That's going to be 5%. So to keep the numbers simple, say that 100 Coach Coin is given out during the day, 5 Coach Coin are now going to be as a giving share given out from my end, to these different things. 1% is going to this nonprofit called Operation Underground Railroad. And what they do is they're the ones that are fighting child trafficking. If you look into Tim Ballard, he's the one that's behind all of it. And so we're going to be given to that because I feel like that's a great cause for fighters to be a part of.
Mhm.
And the second thing that we have is a nonprofit that is called One Tree Planted. And what they do is they plant trees all around the world. And, then we have our own thing that we've started. One of the fighters on the platform, his name is Tom the Truth Duffy. And so him and I came up with the concept that every month we're going to allocate money to him to give away to the whatever organization or cause or, good deed or whatever it may be that he finds is worth doing. And then he's going to share with all of us about what it did, how it helped, how it benefited, et cetera, et cetera. And he's the most honest person I've met ever. So I know he's the one to put in charge of this. So that way we can make sure it's actually going to something, not being corrupt or, you
Right.
know, just know he's not going to kind of got to fuck it up. And then the other 2% we have First, it's going to be a fighter jackpot. So one of the fighters on the platform, one of the fighters on the platform is going to be getting 1% of that payout, basically, because they're getting that entire fighter jackpot. Um,
Hmm.
and then the other 1% is going to go to a fan jackpot. So one of the lucky fans on the platform will get to win money.
And how often is this? You said once a month.
This is once a month that we're going to do it. And it's going to depend on when we officially launch it and get it going. But I'm probably going to plan on doing it the first of the month or the last day of the month. It's still kind of up in the air as far as that goes, but it's going to be around that time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions about it?
I mean, I'm the kind of guy like I don't really start having questions until I feel it, see it, and start doing it a little bit in application or until we talk about it more. But
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely sounds cool and new, and like nobody else is gonna, as that I know of, gives rewards and stuff for just
For
using the
you.
platform. But I could see that that would encourage a lot of like self growth or whatever. Like, because the more people use it, the more they get rewarded. But the more the people use it, like the more it kind of just builds itself. It would feel like,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And the possibilities to this are limitless. One day we're going to have our own fights, with different fighters on the platform. We're going to get you guys together and have you fight against each other.
That'd be
And
cool.
and then we're going to have our own variations to MMA as well, where we'll have like 1 round kickboxing and then 1 round just takedowns, where it's going to be like points in order to win the round. And then 1 round we'll do, submission only or something like that. There's so many variations to ways we can do it. And,
Yeah.
we want to really mix it up and make this into something that changes the sport of MMA and makes people be like, holy shit, I'm glad I became a part of Only Fighters.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's a lot of good ideas.
Thank you. Um, so I want to also share a story with you real quick, if that's all right.
Sure.
Cool. So about 7 years ago, I was in a coma, and the doctors told my parents that best case scenario, I was going to be a vegetable the rest of my life. I had all these dreams while I was in it. I thought they were true when I woke up. And when I did wake up, they brought me to a rehab center to teach me to walk again. On that first night there, the doctor said it was going to be a few months, probably a year before I made it back home. I told him I was going to be home next week. He started laughing at me. He's like, I have no idea where you're getting that from. You're paralyzed on the left side of your body. You lost 30 pounds in that coma. It's going to take you a while before you can go back home. We'll talk in a few months. And I said, well, no offense, doctor, but you don't know me. I am going to be home next week. And a week to that day, I kid you not, I was back home. So after I made it home, I wrote down everything about the experience. I added to it over time. When that whole COVID shutdown happened, I took that time to turn this into a movie script. I got it properly formatted, copyrighted, everything. And so, what my vision is with Only Fighters is this business, Only Fighters LLC, is going to pay Coma Dreams LLC, my business that's going to create films. And then that way, everything's just a tax write off for me. And so, I can, I wanted to be able to give myself an audience to create films for a living, as well as be able to help out, all these different things. But the biggest thing is I want to be able to inspire people to see that the opinions of the quote unquote experts don't have to be their reality because they're just opinions.
Yep. I have a story similar to yours.
Yeah,
When
sure.
my mom was pregnant with me, I was it was close, like a few weeks away or something from when I was due, So it wasn't like the beginning of the pregnancy or anything. But the doctors did a sonogram and said that my spine hadn't fused together properly and there was a big hole, a gap in where my spinal cord was supposed to be, solid. And that same thing, I would be a vegetable and that I would never be able to even feed myself or whatever, you know.
Wow.
Maybe I would have movement from the neck up, like maybe I could talk, but probably not.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
yeah, and you know, my mom and my dad, they prayed about it, and my dad said he got a word from the Lord that said, "I don't make trash, you know, just trust me." And so yeah, they went back to get another sonogram after like a week or two or something, and they couldn't explain it. They could see like where my spine had fused together normally, and I was way past the point of like supposed to be able to develop. You know, babies develop in the
Wow.
beginning stages. You know, you don't
Right.
develop like, you know, you don't continue to develop that much like a, you know, a month before you're supposed to be born or whatever. So yeah, so same thing. You know, I was born, and I mean everything has been fine, and obviously I do, you know, one of the most
Yeah.
ultimate sports in the world, and so yeah, kind of cool, right?
That's
God,
awesome.
yeah, God.
Congratulations.
I mean, it's just part of my testimony, man. You know, like God is still a God that does miracles, and you know, if you're walking and breathing, He's still got a plan for you. You know.
Yeah. I used to have a client that said every day above ground is a good day. So I try to keep that in mind.
There you go. Yeah, if you're still alive, man, God is that's proof that He's got a plan for you. You know, even the bad guys. The bad guys are even a part of God's plan, whether they want to be or not. You know, they might not be on the good end of it,
Right.
although they should be. But you know, He's always got a plan, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, cool. So, do you have any other questions about how this works or anything? Oh, before you say anything, what I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna have you create an account so that way you can test out the platform a little bit. Because it is basically ready, but there's like probably 3 to 5 things we have left to fix, but
Mm-hmm.
it's mostly on the fan end of it right now. We got the fighter end of it pretty set up, so that way you guys can start testing it out. But then once we have it completely good, we should be up and going. And I'm really hoping for it to be before the 20th, 21st. I don't know, Saturday, a week from today, because
Okay.
I'm doing a wrestling match and we're going to be live streaming at the event. And I'm also sponsor of the event too. So
Nice.
I kind of need everything to be working by that point. Um, so God's champion, let's make it happen. Let's make it
Yeah.
happen.
All right,
Um,
dude. Let's do it.
all right. Thank you. I appreciate your patience. I'm glad we got to get this done today. And I'll send you the link and then I'm gonna send you the FAQ and that's got the video in it and yeah. So
Yeah. We'll just go from there, man. I'm sure I have questions as I'm going. But
feel free to
yeah, for sure. Send me all the
awesome.
information, the links and stuff, and we'll go from there, okay?
Cool. Awesome. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, man. See you later. Bye.
Bye.